Hi Libra, welcome to your week ahead tarot with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So your key to the week this week is the Judgment card. So this to suggest that this is going to be a big week of change for you, or some profound shift that takes place in your consciousness. Remember, with the Judgment card, this is a call to action, but it's usually one that comes either by spiritual means or one that comes from a deep well inside that forces you to take a different path or to go in a different direction. Now, this card for me always represents a blast from the past as well, and very often the blast from the past that comes in is for assimilation as opposed to for rekindling. So like if you hear from an ex over the course of this week, it's probably so that you can assimilate the lessons that this person has brought you and taught you, rather than or even to go back over them rather than to reconnect with them. It's very rare. That being said, remember Mercury's going retrograde this week, or should I say, as I'm recording this, it's the 7th of September. So as I'm recording this, we're about 2 days away from Mercury turning retrograde in your sign. So this really, I mean, the Judgment card, like I said, being that blast from the past or something coming up from the past or the deep well within self, it wouldn't surprise me if this week you feel that sort of retrograde energy playing out in a very visceral kind of way. But for a lot of you, I kind of feel like this is going to be one of those from like inside, something within you says, I'm ready to change this now, or I'm ready to assimilate, or to really even start living in the presence of this lesson or this resource that I've gained through a challenging situation. So there is a moment of pure honesty here with yourself, and it also suggests as well the change that is taking place is going to be a change of consciousness over the course of this week. Before we start, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So if you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. For your actions and options, you have the Knight of Wands. Coupled with the Judgment card, this is a visceral internal push that is led by something that you feel genuinely passionate about. So this week, you could sort of charge after something, and you might not necessarily care what or who is saying, you know, maybe you should think about this or whatever. It's like you're jumping straight in and you're not going to let anything hold you back this week. I will say, do expect some resistance from the outside world, probably from people that, you know, they care about you, they love you, they don't want to see you make a big mistake that you can't undo. But I feel like a lot of you, like this week, you will just jump into something. It's almost like it's like, you know, like when we were little here in the UK, we've got a colloquialism where we say you've got ants in your pants, where it's like this person just couldn't sit still, or they couldn't not fidget or do something. You might feel this week like there's something under your skin where you're just like, no, I have to do this now. It's like an internal push. And to be honest with you, this is akin to the kind of energy, like, you know, with the IKEA flat pack stuff, you get two types of people. You get ones that will sit and they'll open the instructions and they'll put all the things out nicely. I'm not those people. And then you get the other camp who basically just rip everything open and just start putting it together. This week, there's something that you might not have all of the finished parts. It might not look pretty. It might not be, you know, all of the ducks are in a row, but you're like, I can't wait any longer. I just have to charge into this. If that's the visceral push and pull or call to action that you're feeling from within, don't let anything or anyone stop you. For your communications and conversations, you've got the 9 of Wands. So there is a moment this week where an old vulnerability is likely to show itself. Now, on a physical level, as an example, on a physical level, this would be like an old injury. Let's say you go back to running, you go back to dancing, whatever it might be, and you're like, oh yeah, that time I tore my Achilles tendon, I can feel it. It's not, you have to push past that, all right? And obviously, I'm not a doctor or a medical professional or a physical therapist, but what I'm saying is you have to push past your discomfort this week. So there might be a moment where you do feel a vulnerability of some sort. And because this is in your communications, you may find that an old wound, an old challenge, or an old issue actually has the seed or the seed of the new thing that's growing. So it's kind of like, yeah, you know what? I learned a really harsh lesson from that, but actually it's paving the way for the future for all of these wonderful things that are taking place now. So there is like this big blast from the past that you're potentially feeling on a very visceral level, but it's paving the way for you to achieve something bigger, even if you don't necessarily have all of the bits and pieces in the right space at the moment. For those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, honestly, I feel like for a lot of you, this is going to be a moment where you kind of say, you know what, I think I'm probably going to need to repeat the year. There's something like, and you know, this is interesting because at this point, a lot of people are just starting their new year in academia. For those of you that are so inclined, for those of you that feel, you know what, I don't quite feel like I'm at the knowledge or the skill level that I need, even though I scraped through the last year, for some of you, you could be pushing the reset button yourself and admitting like, you know what, it's going to take me too much to get to where I need to be. So I'm choosing to reset the year rather than put myself in that position. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, this could be a big change that's coming up in your workplace, in your work arena, maybe with the people that you work with. And it's like the shift or the change that they're implementing, you might feel like, wow, you know, they're putting all these new procedures in place. I don't know this technology. You know what? They're changing the policies of the way that we do things. I don't have that knowledge or that understanding as yet. There's something here where you're taking a remedial action and you're admitting a vulnerability of some kind. When it comes to those of you that are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, I think if I'm honest, this is complete honesty with your clients to say, you want this from me, most of the time I can deliver it, right now I'm not sure going forward. For some of you as well, this might be a tough conversation around your prices, where you're saying to your current client list, look, I'm sorry, but my prices are going to have to go up in line with everything else going up. So there is a feeling here, or like a pervading feeling of, okay, am I about to lose a whole load of my clientele? I don't think that's the case, but you might still feel that kind of level of vulnerability around it. When it comes to your those of you that are retired and no longer working, honestly, this I think is a week to be very self-centered and very self-focused, to focus on the things that you know need to be rectified within yourself, or things where you know you need nourishing or nurturing. I would say this is a great week to work with yourself, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, you know, all of the facets of self. But this would be a really good week to work with yourself on closing the door or the loop on an old story, pattern, or issue. If you haven't seen the weekly general, please check it out. I think you'll get a lot from it this week. For your, sorry, I don't know why I was going over there. For your love and relations, you've got the Chariot card. So for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, a lot of you could be traveling this week, but you're traveling to somewhere that is known to you. So this could be going back to, maybe you're going to stay with your significant other's parents. Maybe you're going to stay with your parents. Wherever you're going, it's not a new place to you. It's not like, oh, you know, we're going to Barbados for the first time. If you've got family in Barbados and you visited there before or frequently, it's like you're going again, or you're planning to go again. What I can also tell you as well is when it comes to your relationship, a lot of you look like you've turned a corner this week. So if you've had challenges or maybe, you know, terse periods when it comes to the relationship, this week you could make a lot of headway. For those of you that are single, blast from the past. It is a blast from the past. And interestingly enough, I don't feel like this person will come to you direct. I feel like you will see them or meet them on your travels. So while you're out and about, it's like you might see them and, you know, maybe it brings everything flooding back. Maybe you have a moment where it's like, wow, you know, I'm not sure how I feel about that or how I feel about them. You know, like it'll be an interesting week for your Money and materials, you've got the Knight of Pentacles. So this could be a very sexy, very sensual week. It could definitely be an amorous energy because 2 knights represents intimacy. What I will say is when it comes to your money and materials and your finances, this is the realization of a long-standing financial goal. So for some of you, this could be where you're paying off the final payment of a debt. This is you at the end of a financial journey that has taken a long time. So maybe you're buying the house. Maybe you are finally putting the, deposit down on the business premises, or do you know what I mean? Like there's something here that it's taken you a long time to get to this point. For some of you, it might be the last mortgage payment. It's very possible. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, this card represents your knees, your shins. Yes, it can be your whole skeleton, but the Knight of Pentacles tends to be your walking apparatus. So when it comes to your home and environment, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if someone from the past is coming into the home. And I wouldn't be surprised if the conversations around that have something to do with finances, money, resources, who gets what, and or the division of assets. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.